Why does Israel Adesanya think Robert Whittaker is not a good guy? As you all know, Whittaker won the title of Ultimate Fighter in 2012. He is 14-3 with the UFC. After losing the title from Israel Adesanya,
I knock out middleweight being of Israel Adesanya.
he defeated Darren Till. Jared Cannonier, and Calvin Gastelum, all through the unanimous decision. And if we talk about another successful boxer, Israel Adesanya joined the UFC in 2018, and since his joining till now, he is standing at 10-1. And defended the middleweight title against Yoel Romero, Paul Costa, and Marvin Vettori. He also tried the fight under light heavyweight competition but lost it when he faced the champion of UFC light heavyweight, Jan Blachowicz.
I wish him well, but unfortunately he has to fight me. Sorry, I just found it really weird. Like, I literally got asked that 3 times today, so I was like, okay, that's a really odd question, but as you were.
Yeah. Now, Israel Adesanya is more focused on middleweight fights. But what suddenly happened between both the fighters? Stay with us to know what happened between Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. Almost 3 years ago, after losing the fight against Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker was knocked out because of his ego, and later he admitted his kind of behavior for which he was blamed for. Due to these issues and such circumstances, he has to face some serious matters, but he has never disappointed us. Israel Adesanya claims that he had observed and noted Robert Whittaker before they first came face to face in the octagon for a fight. Now, Robert Whittaker promised to come back as a different and a changed fighter, but Israel Adesanya knows him well, and he is not ready to believe all of this. How does Adesanya justify this explanation? Why does Adesanya think that Robert Whittaker is not a good guy? Without any further delay, let us get into this. In an interview with Stake, before the match of both the players at UFC 271, Adesanya says,
I don't have to try. It's just, I wasn't really trying to get in his head. I was just saying what was happening. It all started with that stupid meme, and I said he's acting out of character, and you know, the rest is history. But yeah, I'm glad it took him 2 years to make that realization.
Israel Adesanya is so against Whittaker that he says, people kept on saying that Whittaker is a good guy, but trust me, he is not. You don't know the behind the scenes, and now he has also admitted that the reason behind his loss is his hard ego that shows his other side. On this, Israel Adesanya says,
I know about being friends one day, but I don't think that far ahead. The guy, I don't like the guy. He doesn't like me. It's plain and simple. After the fight, we show respect, and
Adesanya raises a prediction against Robert Whittaker because he has figured out many things.
Adesanya trying to close it out. Your new undisputed middle.
He said,
2 years to make that realization. Better late than never.
He said,
smart, and there's some things I think they saw in that fight they thought they can implement, but yeah, they'll find out. He's never actually grappled with me, and no one's actually ever seen me grapple properly. You've seen bits and pieces of my grappling wizardry, and even in the Jan fight, you look at that fight, you see some of the stuff I did in that fight, you're like, huh, we can take advantage of that. But we're in the
pride because it was too good last time for him when we had the match. This was not enough for him. His ego kind of behavior at the UFC had made Israel Adesanya so frustrated, and further, Israel Adesanya claims that Whittaker may have learned from his mistakes from last time for maybe a round or so, but then trust me, he will revert to these errors. Once he feels what he felt last time, he won't know where to turn. Also, he didn't even grapple with me last time. He didn't feel me. You can ask any of my previous opponents, they will tell you. So once he feels me in a grapple, then he will get shook again. So viewers, how are you finding this video till now? If you like it, then subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Getting back to the video, apart from his dissatisfaction regarding Whittaker's ego, Israel Adesanya won another title recently. He proved that he is still what he wants to be, and he proved that he believed in him and his hard work. He said the new goal that is to develop and show him at the 185 pounds before he thinks or goes towards another challenge. Israel Adesanya said, "When I beat Whittaker, I honestly don't have any immediate plan on what to do next. I'm just going to keep doing what I am doing at 185, line them up and knock them down. And once I have lapped the division of my terms, then I might step up and do another side mission at a different weight." After this much great success in being titled as a successful boxer, how is it possible that you would never be defeated? Once in a life, you get this thing to face as a failure, but it has a turning back option. This happens with Israel Adesanya also, but he knows his strength and he believes in himself. The match held between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya is the one that spotlighted and gained popularity earlier. Alex Pereira, who knocked out Israel Adesanya, becomes the champ. The match was fully defended by Israel Adesanya, but only until Pereira proved himself as a contender. He said, "In terms of fighting Alex Pereira, he has only had one fight, so it's a bit premature yet. Let's see how he does in other fights, but I do look forward to that arc in my story." This all shows that Israel Adesanya is not considering Robert Whittaker as a good guy. As you all know, Israel Adesanya will be defending his middleweight title in a rematch against none other than Robert Whittaker in UFC 271, which will take place on February 12th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. This match is again going to take place after 2 years after the knocking out of Robert Whittaker by one and only Israel Adesanya, who became a middleweight king. Seems like all of this effort of Adesanya is affecting Robert Whittaker and his ego again. Let us see how. After the explanations by Adesanya, Robert Whittaker started to work on himself and establish a good person in himself. Most importantly, he's letting out his ego, which is the reason for his blame and knocking out also. And if we talked about the opinion of Israel Adesanya, then he had issues with Robert Whittaker during their first fight, and those comments were the representation of what he believes and what he expects, and what he wants to be. In short, Israel Adesanya is not ready to accept Whittaker's situation. That is why Adesanya thinks Robert Whittaker is not a good guy. Hope you liked the video. What are your opinions on this thought of Adesanya? Do you agree with Adesanya, or do you think Adesanya should accept the situation? Do let us know in the comment section, and for more interesting topics like this, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that red bell icon for future updates. Thank you.